Yeah. So rather here we are just building a string that represents XML. Okay, it's not technically XML, it's only a string that is representing XML. Now what we do with that string is we actually are passing it as a parameter to the simple XML element constructor. Okay, so when we do that, that actually takes the feed in, okay, and it actually uh, adds a lot of methods and properties, okay, a lot of methods and properties to the uh, to that feed, and it actually assigns it over to the employee XML feed variable. Okay, and at the end what we're doing is we are simply using the as XML function. Okay, we are simply using the as XML function, that will be I won't say function, the method as XML method that is being or that is available with employee XML feed, and we are echoing it out. Okay, and let's quickly take a look at what is going on when we do that. Oh, you know what? So Firefox doesn't give us the best experience. So let's actually do that with Google. I don't remember the file. Okay, so the training.com. So it'll be it'll be XML. Yeah, users feed.php. Fair enough. So now what's happening here is we actually are looking at a dirty string. Okay, but for us to verify that it's XML that's coming from the server, what we'll have to do is we'll have to take a look at the source. Okay, so the browser is treating this XML document as a string. Let's actually verify quickly as to why is that happening. Okay, now we'll refresh it again here. Okay, let me close this. Yeah, the only reason for that is the type, the content type here that is coming back is text slash HTML. Okay, so that's why it is treating an XML document as a HTML document. Okay, so today we'll actually be looking at two things. Okay, the first thing is to make sure that we send an XML document. When we say that we are giving you an XML document, we'll have to make sure that it is XML and it's not a HTML document. Okay, that will be the first thing that we'll do. The second thing is going to be saving this XML to a local file. Okay, so we did already, I mean, we probably would have discussed this yesterday. There are two ways of exposing data. The first one is by file sharing, and the second one is by giving a service out. Okay, the first case would work when we are working in a, or when we are developing in a web development environment. The second case would be very important, or would work when we are working in a scripting environment. Assume that there is a Python job or there is a bash job that is looking for a specific XML file. Okay, this actually happens with a lot of builds, by the way. Since we have come to this topic, this actually happens with a lot of builds. So the build servers always look for an XML file. Okay, so this could be that XML file. Okay, so long story short, we'll actually look at both the ways of, I mean, both the or the ways to do both those things. Okay, um, console. Okay, so the first thing would be to actually find a way to send XML data to the client. Okay, here you'll have to understand that training.com, of course it is local, agreed, but it is still the web server. Okay, the browser here is still the client. So the requirement is that the web server has to send XML data and not HTML data like this guy here. Okay, now let's actually see how can we do that. Okay, we'll be using a function called header. Okay, it'll actually look like this. Okay, by using a header, what we are saying is we are actually passing instructions to the web browser. Okay, the like we have probably already discussed, web browser is dumb. Okay, it is understood to be very dumb. All that it will do is it will take the information that you give, okay, and print it out. The reason that it will print it out is if you are sending data or information as part of the body, it just takes the information and it prints it out. But if you actually send information as a header, okay, at that point it is going to consider that as a rule and follow the rule. Okay, so in this case what we'll do is we'll actually send a header. Okay, and for us to understand what header would we send, we'll have to look at uh, this console. Okay, and here in the console we actually see that we are looking at something called as a type, and this is not the actual header. So let's actually take a look at the resources, okay, real quick. Mm, hmm. Okay, so the header, by the way, is content type. Okay, the header is content type. Okay, and the value has to be text slash XML. Okay, the browser assumes that we are sending HTML documents if we do not mention a specific header. But when we mention a specific header, it actually considers it to be of that content type. Or for that matter, we can even say we can even send other headers, say like content length. Okay, or we can even send information to actually gzip the or compress the data. Okay, normally when we are working on a big site, assume that there is a web page. Okay, and the web page has a lot of information that is coming back. Okay, at that point it is a good practice to compress the HTML, JavaScript and CSS that are going from the server to the client. By doing that, we are going to save a lot of bandwidth, and by saving bandwidth, we'll obviously save a good number of resources, right? So let's quickly load this in a browser and see if something changes. Okay, so we have modified the header. Nice. So at this point, what happened here is, okay, what happened here is we have said that the content type is text slash XML, right? That's why. uh, okay. Uh, since you have mentioned that it is text slash XML, the browser now understands what to do with the data. That's why we actually have a built-in XML parser in the browser, which is actually rendering the XML. And like I've already mentioned, anything that begins has to end, okay, with XML. So that's why we actually can have or we actually have these nice, what is it, um, it's more of a accordion functionality, but it's more of a tree element structure. Okay, so you'll just have to do this. Okay, if you want to verify a specific person, assume that you're looking for this guy. Oh, this name's too hard. Let's find an easier name. Yeah, see, let's actually find this girl. Okay, let's go up here. Yeah, see, at that point we can actually close out the other elements. Okay, so that's a good thing about the XML parsers that actually render the XML data in this format. The main thing to understand here is we've only made one change from yesterday's script. The only change is to pass an instruction to the web browser. The way we pass an instruction to the web browser is via headers. Okay, the only change that we've made is to say that the content type is text slash XML. Okay, now that we have said that, the browser understands what are we doing with this data, or what kind of data is coming back. Okay, so is that is pretty much the explanation for the first task. At this point, let me quickly ask you all if there are any questions. No questions? Perfect. So here, let's actually spend 5 minutes and understand what exactly are we doing with the headers. Okay, so what we have just seen are one type of is one declaration. Okay, is one type of a header. Okay, now let's actually see in real time what kind of headers do we get. Okay, see, I mean, this is probably one other thing about Google Chrome. We never get to see all the headers, unlike Firefox. So let's actually close this out. Okay, let's open up Firefox. uh, okay, nice. So here, let's actually take a look at the header information that's coming back. Okay, so this is the header information that is coming back. Now all that we have modified is content type. Okay, content type. Okay, now there are other types of headers that we can also send. Okay, so one thing is going to be, should the web server keep the connection alive? Okay, should it keep the connection alive, yes or no? The next thing is going to be the content type or the content encoding, as in, do you want to gzip the data that's coming through from the web server or not? Okay, so these are obviously server level things that I have done, so that's why they are available. And sometimes Apache comes pre-configured. Okay, uh, so yeah, so these are a few things. The other important things are going to be understanding what is it, HTTP headers. Okay, are going to be understanding what else can we do. The first thing is going to be redirection. Okay, so so this is good, this is good. Yeah, so here, this is one. So this is always going to be one thing that we'll have to make sure that we add a header. Okay, this is going to be very important if we work on a customer facing website which actually has ads. Okay, the way ads work is, you click on an ad, you get redirected to a page. Okay, but as soon as you click on an ad, you're redirected. The reason that you are redirected is, there is a there is obviously a redirection that happens, but what causes the redirection is a HTTP header. This one's not the HTTP header, but the ad in itself is going to be the referrer. Okay, so that is one important thing. The second important thing is going to be, so see, user agent is one, what is it, user agent is an important um request header, not technically response header. The reason for that being, if you want to understand what kind of a browser is making the request, is it Mozilla, is it Internet Firefox, I'm sorry, Internet Explorer, or if it is Google Chrome, at that point you are going to take a look at the header that's coming in for user agent. The other one that I'm actually looking for is location. Let's see if I want, yeah, there we go. Okay, I don't think this is the right one, so let me quickly look for any other. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so this is, so the location header, okay, is the one that allows us to redirect people from one location to another location. Okay, so this is an other important header to keep in mind. Okay, and this location actually takes what is it, a status code, okay, a HTTP status code. So the way we can find that out is by going to HTTP status codes, and since it's redirection it will be 300. Okay, so let's go in here, let's look for 300. Yeah, okay, yeah, so HTTP 300 is going to be for redirection. Okay, now here there are a few things. I mean, probably these are not very important, but since we are here, let's actually take a look at it. Okay, I mean, again, these are important, I'll be honest. uh, the reason for that is nobody really knows, or like at least the web developers that I've worked with really do not know or understand Apache, or do not understand redirection. Okay, so when you actually sit in meetings with, say, the operations people who actually run the servers, okay, if you want to understand what they're talking about, it is very important to understand this kind of stuff. Okay, because operations people will not care about development, they would only care about infrastructure and deployment. Okay, so these come when you actually deploy the websites and maintain the websites. Okay, yeah, long story short, redirection comes when we actually are using the location header. Okay, so 301 is given when a link has been replaced permanently. Okay, so here I actually have this link, right? Assume that this link is pointed to http underscore 301 URL. Okay, but now what I've done is I've permanently moved it to http underscore header underscore 301. Okay, at that point I can actually put in a redirection when somebody clicks this. That is a permanent redirection. The other way is to put a temporary redirection, okay, which is 302. Okay, this is I don't know how to put it. I wouldn't say it's not very popular. People use it on a regular basis, but it has to be temporary. Okay, so it has to be only for a few hours or max of a one day, not more than that. The reason being, if somebody, if say Google, okay, indexes this one, okay, at that point there are, I mean, the link would actually be indexed at least for 1 or 2 days. Okay, and also there is something called a sitemap. I'll not go into the details of it, but that has to be rebuilt completely. Okay, so long story short, keep in mind about 3 in 1 and I mean 301 and 302. 301 is moved permanently, 302 is temporary redirection. Okay, and the way you would do that in PHP is by the header function, header PHP. Let's actually take a quick look at how that is done. Yeah, so like this. Okay, so here all that we are doing is we are saying, we are giving the header, I mean, or we are actually calling the header function, we are giving a location, or like we are actually passing it a string. Okay, but the string has to be a key value pair. Okay, it has to be separated by a colon. Okay, so the first one on the left side, or the string on the left hand side of the or the colon would be the HTTP header. Okay, it could be location, it could be content type, it could be MIME type, or anything. Okay, and the string on the right hand side is going to be the value of the header. Okay, so this is a quick 101 of how headers can be used. Okay, and in this case what we have done is we've actually um, we've actually passed the data as XML, and to say that it is XML, Yeah, and to say that this is XML, we have made sure that the content type that is being sent over from the server is being set to text slash XML. Now we have achieved the first target. The second one is going to be saving the XML document. Okay, there are two things to keep in mind, or rather, one important thing to keep in mind is that uh, the folder in which we are working, okay, ls-l, has to have enough permissions, okay, um, okay, so has to have enough permissions for the, or the web server rather has to have enough permissions on the folder. Okay, if not, it will not be able to write data to the folder. Okay, so we'll use the chown command. Okay, so that's to change ownership of oh, you know what, I'm running out of battery, give me 1 second. Are you all there?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect, thank god. Okay, so can you see my screen?
Yes.
Ah, thank god. Yeah, so at this point my system is a little frozen. I'm surprised that the GoToMeeting link is still on. uh, but yeah, my system is a little frozen. I should have connected to the battery a little early. So now that we have a minute to spare, let me quickly ask you all if you have any questions. No questions at all. You're a smart lot of people, man. You're a very smart lot of people.
Or really dumb.
That's being frank. I appreciate that. Very smart. Come on, get over. See, the good part is the next task that we have as to saving data to the file will only take a little bit. So we are actually good. Oh, come on. Oh, okay. So it's the VM that's stuck. No, that's not good. Yeah, so it's the VM that's stuck. It's not responding. I wonder why. Okay, so let me try and see if I can force quit it and see if I can restart it. Nah, no, running out of memory. Okay, so now this would be a good place to see how lucky I am. Okay, the reason I say that is whenever we force quit the virtual box, it kind of screws up the guest editions. So that is why always I'm a little careful with virtual box. Now let's see if this quit has screwed the virtual box. Uh, yeah, see, something's wrong. That's not good. The other part is I don't know why is this still up. Let me force quit it. Nice. So that cleared the pipe. Let's start. So did you all think anything about how to implement XML in your projects? Anybody? Not
No.
yet. Not yet. Oh, I actually am on the lucky side today. Nice. I didn't screw up, or it does at least look that I did not screw up my guest editions. Nice. It always feels good. Okay. So now let's get back real quick. Yeah. So you can actually use XML again. XML is used for data transfer or data sharing. Okay. So if somebody, I know Munjal is actually working on the university search tool. Okay. So Munjal, you can actually uh, provide a XML feed of the universities that you're working with. And Pooja, I guess you're working on a on the bidding side, right? So you can
Quora.
actually, yeah, so you can actually provide a feed of all the products that you have. If you actually want
I'm
to
doing a
go
Quora, Sai.
a what? The Quora.
Quora.
Yeah, perfect. So you can actually, oh, you know what? That's even better. The reason I say that is, if you actually are doing a question and answer site, there has to be a taxonomy, right? So all food questions have to be with food tags. All
Okay.
the electrical questions, I don't know if they are asked on there, but they have to be on the electrical tag. So you can actually have one XML feed for each tag. Food for thought. It need not be like
Okay.
that, but food for thought. And Nirajan, what are you working on? What is the project that you're working on? eBay. Yeah, so you are the person who's working on bidding. So you can actually provide a list of, or like a feed for all the products. So that's how you all can use XML. So let's quickly go into training. Perfect. So okay, so the chown command I guess took the system down. So let's do that again and see if something happens. Okay, so nothing happened. See, that's good. So now XML folder belongs to www data, which is the user for uh, Apache. Okay, so now let's actually go in here. Let's say cd XML users feed. Okay, the only thing that we'll do, it's very simple. Okay, even before that, how would you all know? Okay, how would you all know that you'll have to, which function would you use, right? Or can you use as XML to save a file? How would you all know? Okay, the quicker way or the quickest way to verify if you all can use as XML to save an HTML file, an XML file or not, is by taking a look at the description. Okay, so it says public mixed. Okay, so it returns a mixed format. Yeah, and yeah, it actually takes a string name as a parameter. Okay, so it either returns the data or it actually saves the file. Okay, if specified, the function writes data to the file rather than returning it. See, okay, so this is the easy way you all can verify if you know that the function is right or wrong. Okay, so now all that this guy is saying is, if specified, the function writes the data to the file rather than returning it. So in this case, all that we'll have to do is we'll just have to say employee XML fee, right? Because we are not printing data. We would not what is it? We need not use echo. All we'll have to do we'll just have to say employee feed dot XML. Okay. So let's actually see another thing. return values. If file name isn't specified, returns a string on success and false on error. If parameter is specified, it returns true. Okay, perfect. See, this is the best part about documentation. Okay, here it says, because what I was looking for is I've I've written this. Okay, and what I originally wanted to do was, now that the file is written after line 27 on 28, it is understood that the file has been saved. Okay, and at that point, what I wanted to do was I was planning on saying that we would print a message saying that the feed or the XML has been saved to the disk. Okay, I wanted to say that, but this is not, I mean, I don't know, I mean, this is just a guess. I'm just making sure that everything would work. I'm sorry, with that everything would work and it would go to the next step. But there are cases where this might not work. So that is why the the clever people working with PHP have made our life easy by saying that if we provide a file name, okay, they would either return a true or false. Based on what? If the file has been written to the disk, at that point it would give us a true. If not, it would give us a false. Okay, and since I'm doing a if condition, okay, it would either give us a true or false. Okay, so if it is true, it would go in here. If not, it would say that, I mean, it would go into the else condition, obviously, right? So it would say the XML file or the file, right, has failed. Okay, simple enough. So now all that we'll do is we'll quickly go back into the web browser and we'll print it out. Okay, awesome. It's saying that the XML file has been saved to the disk. Okay, so now let's actually verify that the data has been saved, right? It is always good to check that the check what you've done is working. Okay, so you say ls minus l. Okay, awesome. So there is a new script, I mean, there is a new XML file. Okay, and that was created on October 9th at 8:49, which is close enough. Okay, and it is around, I guess it's 5 kilobytes or 5,000 kilobytes. I don't know. So let's actually print it out. Yeah. So yeah, that is how it looks. Okay. It's not very fancy, but that is XML for you. Okay. So now this XML, at least in the example that I had mentioned earlier, would be used by a predetermined script, and the script would do some kind of a would perform some kind of an operation on that XML file. Okay, so that is how we'll actually write an XML file onto the disk. Okay, and verify that the file has been written. Okay, at this point, let me quickly ask you if there are any questions with anything with XML, because what we have done is we have actually built XML, we have sent XML to the browser, and we have saved the XML to the disk. The only thing that's left is parsing XML, which we'll do that in the next session. But are you all clear with building XML and sending it over to the browser or to the disk? Because once you have built it, parsing XML is a cakewalk. You'll get it. Any questions?
I think I got it.
Yeah, see, that's the scary part. If there are no questions, it's actually a little more scary.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
But when I build it, when I really have anything, I'll go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, I'm actually sorry for piling so much misery on, but from here on, everything would be a. I mean, it will snowball. Okay, from here on, we are only going to work on intermediate and advanced concepts. So spend as much time as you can. Okay, and at least understand why are we doing it. Forget how are we doing it. At least understand why. What the why part and what are we doing. Probably these are the two important things, because you know what and why, Google will guide you, trust me. uh, but at least understand the first two things: what are we doing and why are we doing. Okay, because how, again, at the end of the day, is just code, so it will be a cakewalk. So the important part is going to be why and what. Okay, nice, I like the silence. So with 7 minutes left, do you all want me to repeat anything with this part? Nothing, okay. So okay, I mean, if you all have no questions, I mean, at least with this one or with anything else, if you all have any questions, we can stay back and discuss about those questions. If not, we can actually call it a day. Okay, once again, do you all want me to repeat anything from this exercise?
Probably on Saturday.
Probably on Saturday. I like that. I like optimism. Okay, so hopefully we'll discuss something about this on Saturday. If not, we'll actually reuse this same script that will generate a feed. Okay, and we'll actually start using that data to parse to parse information. Okay, once we have that data, what we'll do is we'll actually print all the first names or print all the last names or build a table of all this information. Okay, okay, and we'll also make it a little dynamic as to how we'll parse it. Okay, so the next session is on Saturday, and that will be at 1 p.m. EST. Okay,
Alright, bye. Bye.
have a good evening, guys, and I'll see you all on Saturday. Okay,
Thank you. Bye.
enjoy.